10% of women leave the jobs because things are happening to you. And a lot of part of the menopause yoga is reframing the attitude towards menopause.
Hi, and welcome to the Women's Woman podcast, How to Be a Woman, where we talk about everything women's health from menarche to matriarchy. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing our first Move With Her episode with my friend and yoga teacher, Justyna Gomula, who is going to tell us all about menopause yoga. Now, menopause yoga is actually something that's got some evidence behind it. It's got evidence to show it's beneficial for symptoms like sleep and anxiety, depression, and even hot flushes. Now, it's not better than hormone replacement therapy, but there are some women who don't want to take hormones, that can't take hormones. And so I thought it'd be great to get her along to have a chat, to see what it's all about, and so that she can give us a routine that we can all do at home. Hi, Justyna.
Hello, Natalie.
How are you?
Very well.
I'm so pleased you could join me today.
And I'm so thrilled to be here
Yeah.
to you about all the menopause yoga stories.
So tell us, what is menopause yoga?
Menopause yoga is a therapeutic style of yoga that helps women on the menopausal journey.
Okay.
And it covers the symptoms, but also it introduces very easy toolkit of poses, meditation, and breath work in order to help women to relax, to be quiet, to have some time for themselves. And that things that are just easily done anywhere that they can do it. And it's broken into the 3 stages of menopause: perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause.
Yeah.
The sequences are slightly different depending on the symptoms. So the sequence for fatigue will be a bit different to the sequence that will be for mood swings, for example. The sequence for women who are in the postmenopause, when they need a bit more strength,
Right.
they need to work more on the balance, will be a bit different to the women that are going through the perimenopause. But generally speaking, the main part of it is deep relaxation and soothing the nervous system.
Amazing. So how long have you been doing this for?
So I have started to get interested in menopause, obviously, when I started to go through
Yeah.
the perimenopause. So
Yeah.
I would probably say maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And I kind of met a couple of teachers in London, but it's only really in 2021 when I came across a teacher called Petra Kovny, who is the creator and founder of the Menopause Yoga as it is.
Right.
And she has been teaching menopause yoga for the last 10 years. She's been training teachers since 2017. And so far, there's about 700 teachers
Oh, wow.
globally. A lot of them are in England, but you can find teachers everywhere. She actually has a website called menopause-yoga.com. And there is a directory. So wherever you are, you can just look up the area that you live in and you can find a teacher that has been trained by her. And I have done her course in 2021. This is still COVID. I'm still in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
And it's online at the different timing of UK. But it's been extremely, extremely interesting.
Amazing. And so is it right in me thinking that normal yoga, so the yoga that you would go to in a normal class, isn't quite the same as menopause yoga? Is it different?
Well, the poses are the same.
Right.
Or similar. The breathing techniques, and there's nothing different. All those things are based on traditional hatha yoga with elements of restorative yoga. But you come together with women who are in the same phase of life.
Yeah.
So it creates the community. It's a safer space. And also there's a bit more time devoted to relaxation and meditation. And there's just the sequences are more geared towards the certain symptoms that through her research, Petra discovered that those poses work very well for the women.
Amazing.
So you can still go to your normal class. There's nothing wrong with going to your normal class. I still love going to very, very strong practices. I don't necessarily would say that I like going to hot yoga. Some women find hot yoga a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like having hot flashes or night sweats. However, some women swear by it. So it's a very individual approach. Like you know very well as a doctor, everybody goes through menopause in a different way.
Absolutely.
And it's very unique. So the same way about what works for you. And I think part of the menopause yoga is that you are introduced to different techniques, whether they're yoga asanas, whether it's a pranayama, which is the breathing technique, or whether it's a meditation. And you yourself will figure out, does this work for me? Is this got a really good effect on me, or this doesn't really do that much to me?
Yeah.
And then you're figuring in of yourself how to do it. And a lot of also part of the menopause yoga is reframing the attitude towards menopause.
So important. It's not the end.
It's not the end. The Chinese medicine will tell you that the menopause, when you go on the other side, it's a second spring. It's like you come into this wise woman. So it's not like you become all of a sudden invisible.
Yeah.
So it's also parts of it, positive psychology. There's usually a bit of poetry involved in it. Journaling is a very big part of menopause yoga. And it just is changing the attitude towards it.
Okay, so it's not just the moves, it's like a whole philosophy.
Holistic approach.
So interesting.
And menopause yoga teachers are really there as guides. They signpost women to the right places. We're not doctors, so we're not going to tell somebody, oh, you need to take HRT or you cannot take an HRT, because we're not doctors. But we are yoga teachers, but we can say, you could see this person for this person. Acupuncture helps some women.
Yeah.
Some nutrition helps other women.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of it, like, very well with anything. But generally speaking, it's still yoga. It's still yoga to soothe your nervous system. It's for you to relax. It's for you to find time for yourself. And it doesn't really have to be an hour class wearing, Lycra, lemon.
Yeah. But do it from home.
You can do it from home. You can do it in a kitchen, waiting for the kettle to boil. You can be on a bus and you feel overwhelmed and you take breathing techniques.
Yeah.
The beautiful breathing techniques.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much proven that breathing, there's tons of research done on breathing. Breathing really soothes the nervous system.
I've got to say, I often will go to my weekly Pilates class and I'll do some in and out breathing, because you have to, as part of the moves. And I'll realize that it's the first time that I've consciously taken a breath in and out. And it's crazy. And I suddenly feel so much more relaxed. But isn't it just mad that for a whole week, I don't consciously breathe?
And the thing is, conscious breathing is super important.
Yeah.
And even things like if you really were obsessed with your fitness and exercise, the heart rate variability, pranayama really helps that. And we all want to have a good heart rate variability for our long-term health. And that's what's all about. We want to have a good, healthy, long life.
Yeah.
That's what you talk on your podcast about.
Yeah.
It's about the movement, state of mind, being happy, fulfilled, and also be part of the community.
Yeah.
But in positive psychology will tell you that the route to happiness is purpose and be part of a community.
It's part of the 6 Pillars of Life Summit, and absolutely. Okay, so you talked there about hatha yoga. So I'm assuming, therefore, that some other types of yoga, like vinyasa, might not be as good?
Well, no, because vinyasa comes from hatha.
Right.
Just a name.
Got it.
Vinyasa is also part of menopause yoga.
Right.
So there will be sequences which actually parts of it that we've done today was a bit of vinyasa movement. So the vinyasa is hatha yoga. Hatha yoga is basically yoga.
Okay, got it. I knew nothing about yoga. Okay, fine. So you talked about there being some movements that might be better for women at this stage of life. Why is that better? What does it do to the body? What does it do to those symptoms?
So what we did today in the class was a short sequence designed for a symptom that is got a name, menorrhage. When I was doing this course, I've never heard about the word menorrhage, but it's basically the mood swings, frustration, anger, and these are the kind of emotions which comes from too much heat in the body and the kind of lack of control, because things are happening to you and you're thinking to yourself, what's going on? I have no control of what's going on. You then shout at your children, shout at your husband, maybe even shout at your coworker. And you know very well that's about 10% of women leave the jobs because
of their menopause symptoms.
And they do not get the right support in the workplace, and they just feel ashamed to talk about it.
Yes.
So the practice, that particular practice, was mostly focusing on stretching our outer hips, inner thighs, your groin, the inner legs, so inner thighs, and also stretching your armpits, because that's kind of where the whole hip sits. Those kind of unspoken emotions. And then you've got this whole thing about Not so much for me because I'm not British, so I'm much more outspoken about how I feel. But there are lots of women and cultures when they don't feel that they can be very outspoken about how they feel, and it's like a constant, it's like a build up.
Yeah.
And you need to find an avenue to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's probably better to deal with it with a short sequence of hum or some breathing techniques than, having a screaming match with some.
I mean, it would be advised to try not to do that, but it can be difficult. And I think for women watching this, who know that actually the symptoms of mood disorders, hot flashes are due to estrogen deficiency, might be going, well, how does moving help those symptoms? How does that release tension? How does that improve my mood? I don't understand how on one side we've got the science saying it's because of estrogen deficiency, which is true. But how does being in a yoga pose help that?
Obviously, menopause yoga is not a magic pill, and it's not going to increase your estrogen, progesterone.
Yeah.
However, we all know that stress has a massive impact on our hormones. Managing the stress, it's the kind of number one thing that will help us to manage the symptoms.
Yeah.
And then the other one is inflammation. Yoga is scientifically proven to reduce the inflammation in the body.
Right.
By movement, by correct breathing. And it's again, goes back to removing the stress. And I think removing the stress, it's really number one thing to help with so many things.
Yeah.
Sleep, your digestion, just your overall well-being and feeling happy.
Yeah. To summarize then, what you're saying is it's not about correcting the estrogen deficiency. It's about managing your stress. And by doing yoga, you can calm the nervous system down, which will therefore have a beneficial impact on things like mood and sleep, which will then impact how you feel during the day, right?
Yeah. But also the other thing that I want to add, that obviously yoga tones the muscle, it improves your flexibility, it improves mobility, and it improves your balance. And balance is super important for women in later life, and that may fall. And we know very well the big causes of early death in women is broken hip, broken bones, and doing movement. And in the sequences that are designed for women in the later stages, so post-menopause or in a menopause, they are much more dynamic. There, you work more with your body weight. You will working on your balance more. And the muscle tone also will help the bones, osteoporosis, osteopenia.
Yeah.
So there's a huge array.
Yeah. So it's not just about symptoms. It's actually about
symptoms, but it's basically movement. And I always say to people, motion is lotion.
Yeah.
So, and yes, I would not say that we should just do yoga, because I don't just do yoga. And that's so other way of moving. But I think yoga is just an overall and incredibly beneficial practice, both on a physical level, but also psychological.
Amazing.
Psychological symptoms are probably the ones that women find very difficult to deal with during menopause. And HRT is great for lots of women if they're taking it, and you can address the hot flashes and night sweat relatively easily, and maybe some other symptoms. But the general level of anxiety, overwhelm, fatigue, it's really helped by doing yoga.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like part of your menopause toolkit, isn't it? So if you can or you want to use hormones, great, that can be part of your toolkit. But actually, you can have many things, and movement is absolutely an important one. And yoga can be part of that.
And the whole big part of menopause yoga is to educate women, signpost them, empower them, and give them toolkits with easy techniques, easy poses that they can do at home.
Yeah.
Because all of that stuff that we did today, you could do at home. You could put your legs up the wall, for 5 minutes. You could lie on the floor and put your legs on the chair for 5 minutes. You can 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And, some people would say, I don't have any time. And I always say, can you go on your screen time on your Apple phone to see how much time did you spend on the phone today?
Yeah.
Well, most of us will have about 5 hours.
Yeah.
And maybe about half an hour of it will be on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's why I think finding 5 or 10, 15 minutes, it's super beneficial. You don't necessarily have to go to a yoga class every day, but connecting with women is very important. And I think part of the menopause yoga is also workshop for women when they're a bit longer sessions.
Yeah.
Where you can have women having women's circles where they can just share their experiences. And it's about sharing, giving each other advice and just listening.
Yeah. And it's about reducing the stigma, isn't it? And by coming together and having a community, you reduce some of that stigma.
Exactly.
And that can be really helpful. Yeah.
I think the taboo of menopause still exists in a lot of places.
It really does.
The UK is a leading force for menopause, for sure.
Yeah.
So is US, but I think a lot of countries are still quite behind.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to talk about it. Women are ashamed about it.
Yeah.
And they just see it as some strange thing that's happening to them. But it's just like puberty. It's a natural process.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So if a woman is interested in doing some menopause yoga and she decides that she wants to do it at home, how long before she starts to see an effect, do you think?
I would say if you spend 5 minutes doing little breathing exercise, you will feel the benefits of it.
I certainly did in there. Yeah, I did.
I mean, I do it on a regular basis. If I feel overwhelmed, I will do 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it just takes your mind off all the other stuff that goes on in your brain, and you feel so much better. And it's not going to be something straight away that all of a sudden you're going to be walking on the cloud thinking I'm over the whole symptoms, but it just needs a bit of consistent practice and you will notice the results relatively quickly.
Okay, so tell us about the Meno Rage routine we're going to do today.
So the Meno Rage, as I mentioned it earlier, so Meno Rage is the description of one of the symptoms which are probably not really talked about that much when we basically lose it. And we lose it for sometimes no apparent reason. And the whole frustration, anger, rage that builds up within us. And it's the excess heat, but also fear of what's going on, because we basically don't know what's going on. It's all different. We feel different physically, mentally. You lose your temper when you never used to lose temper, which is actually quite scary.
Very.
And so that sequence that we've done today is designed to help us manage that symptom.
Amazing. Okay, and that's it from us here. I've been Dr. Natalie Hutchins for the Women's Handbook Podcast.